Have you ever watched a recording and suddenly realized there was someone in the footage who shouldn't have been there? What seemed like an ordinary family outing video laughter, familiar faces, playful children suddenly revealed a stranger. At the edge of the frame, no one had spoken to her. No one remembered seeing her. And yet, she was there, walking among them. That contradiction is like a tear in reality, letting something unknown slip through. On March 1st, 1998, this contradiction became etched into Taiwan's collective memory. That day, a family set out with relatives to the Daking Scenic Area in Echo, Taikong's Baitan district. Known for its moderate slopes and famous wind-moving rock, the trails were a popular weekend destination. The spring air was fresh, carrying the scent of grass and damp soil. For the family, it was nothing more than a typical Sunday excursion. Like many families of the 1990s, they carried a V8 camcorder, recording the children running ahead, the adults laughing, and the occasional stumble that ended in more laughter. Back then, without smartphones, this bulky camcorder was their way of preserving memories. Everyone was relaxed, unaware they were about to capture one of Taiwan's most famous ghost stories. The hike itself was uneventful. Children played in front. Adults chatted and paused to rest, while the camcorder swayed with each step, catching bits of chatter and laughter. Nothing seemed strange until they returned home that evening and pressed play dot at first. They laughed, pointing out silly gestures and noisy children. Then someone froze, pointing at the screen with a trembling voice. "Who's that girl at the back?" The room fell silent. They rewound and paused. At the end of the hiking line, walking naturally behind them, was a small figure dot. It was a young girl in a bright red dress. Her steps were steady, casual, as if she truly belonged in the group. Unlike ghostly figures described in horror tales, she looked entirely natural, except that no one had ever seen her there. This was what made the image terrifying. Everyone present swore they had not seen any such child that day. If a stranger, in a vivid red dress, had joined them on the trail, someone would have noticed. The color was far too eye-catching to miss. Yet in every memory, she was absent. Her face was the strangest part. While the others' faces were clear, hers was unnaturally blurred. Some said it looked as though smoke had smeared away her features. Others claimed it carried an eerie sense of age, as if the face of an old woman had been imposed upon a child's body. The mismatch was chilling. The video rolled on. The girl followed step by step, never interacting with anyone. She didn't speak, didn't turn her head, only walked quietly at the back. Her presence was natural, yet completely illogical, and that made it even more terrifying. The family grew restless. They replayed the tape again and again, hoping to find an explanation. But each time she was there, always walking, always blurred. The children were frightened, some even having nightmares afterward. The one holding the camcorder was the most unsettled. How could he have stared through the viewfinder the entire time and failed to notice such a glaring figure? That doubt spread through the family, and whispers began. Perhaps this was not a mistake at all, but something they were never meant to capture. Word spread. Relatives, friends, neighbors all watched the tape, each reacting with the same chill. The fact that everyone could see her made it far more frightening than a lone hallucination. This was no trick of the eye. It was recorded, undeniable. Eventually, the tape made its way to a television program focused on supernatural stories. When the footage aired, viewers across Taiwan saw her for the first time. The little girl in red, walking naturally at the end of the line, her face blurred beyond recognition. That night, silence gripped living rooms across the island. The audience felt their hearts clench as if caught by an icy hand. From that moment on, the name "The Little Girl in Red" was carved into Taiwan's folklore. After the footage was revealed, The fear did not stop at the image itself. What made it even more unsettling was what happened to Mr. Luck, the man who held the camcorder that day. He had been a healthy middle-aged man, weighing about 70 kilograms roughly, 154 pounds. But according to his family, in the 3 weeks following the incident, his health began to collapse. His appetite disappeared, his face grew gaunt, and his body wasted away. By the time he died, he weighed barely 40 kilograms around, 88 pounds. Doctors offered explanations, but to the public, it felt as if something from the recording was draining the life out of him. When the footage was aired on a television program, the reaction was immediate and overwhelming. That night, many viewers sat frozen before their screens, unable to breathe. Some switched off their TVs in panic, while others lay awake afterward, haunted by the girl's blurred face. The next day, newspapers splashed bold headlines: "The red figure on the mountain," "Path, hiker records a mysterious girl in Taiwan." Magazines enlarged the eerie image of her face and printed it on their covers. Within weeks, the little girl in red had become the most talked about subject in Taiwan. Experts of every kind were brought in to explain the phenomenon. Photographers suggested double exposure or tape damage, though even they admitted the girl's movements looked too smooth, too natural. Religious figures declared she was the restless spirit of a child who had died tragically in the mountains. Skeptics dismissed it all as coincidence, magnified by mass hysteria. Yet the central question remained unanswered. If she was just another child on the trail, why did no one remember seeing her? At the same time, local beliefs added another layer of fear, especially the old legend of the Mo-Shen-Z, I-mysterious, spirits said to dwell in Taiwan's mountains. According to folklore, they could take the form of children or familiar figures, luring hikers off their paths. Many tales tell of travelers getting lost on well-known trails, walking in circles, until they collapse. Some stories are even more chilling. Children vanish into the forest for days, only to return home with no memory of where they had been, saying only that someone was playing with me. The parallels with the little girl in red appearing on a mountain trail, present in the footage but absent from everyone's memory, were too striking to ignore. The color of her dress also carried dark meaning. In Taiwanese culture, red is paradoxical. It is the color of weddings and festivals, but also the color most feared in ghost stories. Folk belief holds that those who die in red are bound to become powerful, vengeful spirits, their souls locked to the world. A child in a bright red dress, appearing in a place of wilderness and death, became for many the ultimate omen. As years passed, the little girl in red was no longer just a figure on an old videotape. She became a symbol, woven into Taiwan's urban legends. She represented both the fear of the unknown and the uneasy reminder that the mountains do not belong to humans alone. Even today, the footage continues to circulate online. New viewers describe shivers running down their spines, just as audiences did decades ago. In the video, she still walks at the end of the line, her blurred face impossible to explain, her presence undeniable. Perhaps she was nothing more than a camera malfunction. Perhaps she was the lingering spirit of a child lost to tragedy. Or perhaps she was the Mo-Shen-Z AI itself, wearing red to warn those who dared to forget the mountain's true masters. The truth has never been uncovered, but the story of the little girl in red continues to echo, haunting Taiwan's collective memory.